Hey guys, it's Paul Schreier with JoBlo.com. We just got out of the WB panel here at Cinemacon 2018. Saw a whole bunch of cool stuff, lots of cool movies, but I know what you guys want to hear about. You want to hear about the DC stuff. So this is it. Let's get into it. First up, we saw a really cool sizzle reel that showed a lot of highlights from Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Shazam, which are the three main properties that are coming out in their slate, that are in actual production, pre-production, or moving along. So in the sizzle reel, we saw like a bunch of different shots. For Wonder Woman, we saw just stuff from Justice League, stuff from the first Wonder Woman film. For Shazam, we saw a lot of art that was thrown in there, but for Aquaman, we did see some footage that was tossed in for good measure. So we saw Aquaman fighting in the sub, fighting a bunch of like black-clad guys that were like armored up. Looks very much kind of, I'm almost positive this is the place where he meets Black Manta. So anyways, he's fighting all these guys, he's throwing them all over the place. At one point he catches a sword. Imagine the sword clap. If you've seen The Crow, you know what I'm talking about. Bam! Sword in my face, just got it with my hands, good to go. So there's that scene, and then they launched into the panel itself. So what they did was they showed us basically behind the scenes stuff for the most part. They showed a long, not too long, strike that, it was short. They showed a short little bit from Shazam. Now, I was on the Shazam set last week. I can't talk about that, but some of the stuff that they showed in this little behind-the-scenes thing is stuff that we saw there, so free reign. So here we go. So basically Shazam, which you need to know, is described as big with superpowers, which I think is very fitting. And they showed some behind-the-scenes stuff. They showed Zachary Levi in costume. He looks great. The costume looks great. You can trust me on that. It looks perfect. It's straight from the comics. I don't know why people would complain about some paparazzi shot from the street, but it looks amazing. The chest piece lights up, so the light actually comes out and emits and can be adjusted. So we also saw Mark Strong as Dr. Savara. I always mix that up. Anyway, saw him in costume, wearing like kind of a leather suit, using his powers, kind of like force powers and knocking people away, which was pretty cool. And again, we saw some of that on set already. I can't go in, I can't divulge those details, but I can say what we saw. Again, Shazam like stopping a bus. There's a scene where Shazam is at a convenience store and his foster brother is filming him, and he's in the Shazam costume, and there's basically robbers robbing the place, and they're filming it for YouTube just because Shazam is impervious. So, and it looks really cool. I mean, such a conflict, man, because I know so much, and it's like you got to try and separate it. I don't want to get in trouble. But rest assured, what we did see is very, very cool. I think people are going to be really surprised by Shazam. That is my feeling. I think that it's going to be a very different DC film, but it also has a lot of the earmarks that we're looking for. So it's got all the imagination, the hype. It's got so many callbacks to the comics. I would be shocked if it's not at least amazing. I know. It's hyperbole, man. Come on. It's early days when we see this stuff. It always happens that way. Anyways, that's Shazam. So for Wonder Woman, we didn't see any new footage or anything because they're not in production yet. But what we did have was Patty Jenkins doing an interview and talking about it. And she basically confirmed that Wonder Woman is in fact, or Wonder Woman 2 rather, is in fact set in the 1980s. I know that was kind of up in the air, and I don't think it has ever been confirmed to my knowledge. But it's confirmed. It takes place in the 80s, at least, unless they change the script. From this point, it seems like they're pretty settled on it. We did see some imagery. They showed pull some comic book stuff, you know, as they go through their video, and they did show some shots of Cheetah. So I mean, we already know she's in it. Kristen Wiig is playing her, but again, sometimes you get that feeling by the images that they're choosing to show us may allude to what angle they're going for in the actual film, and it is like the full Cheetah, not some you know, movie ready version of Cheetah. It's Cheetah. She's a human cheetah with spots and shit. The last thing that we saw, which I know you're all very concerned about, hopeful for, and excited about, is the Aquaman teaser trailer. Now, James Wan, as well as Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, they all came out on stage and they talked about the film, and James was very adamant that he did not want to show this trailer. It's not ready, just as he said on Twitter, it's not ready. And His thing is he wanted the effects to be done, but ultimately he's kind of overruled, it seems, and they're like, no, you're going to show something. So without further ado, we saw the teaser. Now, I'm not going to go into super in-depth here. I'm going to do a little write-up, and I'll write out the trailer so you can check that out as well on JoBlo.com. But if you just want the Cliff's Notes version, here goes. So the trailer shows a lot of Jason Momoa action shots. Nothing really in costume, just basically topless, because that's, you know, that's his thing. And he's like beating the shit out of the guys on the sub, which we saw before in the little sizzle. There's a point where he lifts the sub out of the water, which is pretty cool. There's parts where he gets in like a ship, an underwater submersible ship that's obviously from Atlantis. He's with Mira, and they're like flying to Atlantis, flying underwater. And you get to a really big full reveal of Atlantis, which looks amazing. I've seen concept art of this. I've seen so much of it, and they've teased it quite a bit, but it just looks great. It's such another environment, another world, and I think that is what people are really going to get into with Aquaman. It's such a good change of pace from everything that we've seen already. You know, I mean, you've seen the cityscapes, you've seen the Batcave, you've seen, you know, well, kind of the Fortress of Solitude and Man of Steel, but I mean, you've seen all of these things, but you have not seen Atlantis proper yet, but you will in this. Now we also get our first look at Patrick Wilson as Orm. He's wearing, as also known as Ocean Master, wearing the silver armor. The helmet is seen on and off, and he has the gray hair as well. So he is unmasked at times, talking to Aquaman. We also got a tease that there's a gladiator match between the two. Again, this is another one where I went on set, so I have to be careful how much I say, but it is what they showed, so I can, you know, ultimately share that. But they have basically a gladiator style match. We have to fight each other basically for the throne of Atlantis. Obviously, we know that Orm wants to rule. He's a bad dude, and so yeah, they don't show the outcome of the battle. So I get the suspicion that Aquaman probably loses at first and then has to fight his way back. Other snippets that we got on that is we also saw Willem Dafoe's character talking and in costume. Everything looks great. Looks, you know, strongly Vulko, however you pronounce that. It looks good, and he does some voiceover as well, which is kind of like he seems like he's serving more as a mentor to Aquaman than anything. The other thing, we did get some shots of Mira. We didn't really see too much of her using her powers. We also see Mira and Aquaman kind of traversing the globe. They're on a globe-trotting journey. They are going from different locales. We see them jumping from rooftops. We see them climbing sand dunes. So they're on the hunt for something. I do know what it is. I can't really say. I probably said too much. All the various different creatures, races, we got to look at all of them. So it's a very, like, almost Star Wars-esque type underwater world. Which is really super cool. Again, something new, something different that we haven't seen or experienced before. It's really great. Aside from that, we also saw a gold trident. Very important. Not a quindent. Yes, that is a quindent that Aquaman has. All will be revealed at some point. Can't be revealed now, unfortunately. But there is a gold trident in the trailer. So do with that what you will. Oh, and the most important thing. Yes, they showed Black Manta. There was still kind of you can tell they're tinkering a little bit, but he looks amazing. I can finally say that. He looks amazing. Y'all are going to love Black Manta. I have a very good feeling Black Manta is going to be a fan favorite. People are going to love Black Manta. I'm positive of it. So just the fact that he looks ripped straight from the comics, they have the costume down pat. This is what we want, you know? Like, I mean, this is why we get attached to this material, so we want to see it adapted proper. And, you know, my faith is really with James Wan. I think he's really busting his ass to make a great film, and I think the cast is too. So I'm very excited for Aquaman. I know a lot of you are too. And I think this is just yet another affirmation that it's in the right hands and that it's trudging along at the right pace. And the fact that not everything is finished yet is a great sign, because they're still working. That's great. I want them. And they have a long way to go. This isn't out till Christmas. So they've got time. Take your time. Make the best movie possible. So far, so good. So that was it from the DC panel. We did not get any teases of anything beyond that. There was no other news about Green Lantern or Batman or any other projects that have been either announced or teased or whatnot. So WB is still holding those cards close to their chest. We know that they've got a lot of different angles they're working to get this DC universe going. But that was it. So those were the only 3 films that we saw any previews or footage from. All great stuff, though. I think we're going to have a really good year from 2018 to 2019 with the DC Universe. So that's it. Yeah. I'll take a breath. I feel like I just ran a DC marathon. Anyways, I'm Paul Shari, JoBlo.com. Thanks for joining us. We're going to have some more from WB up pretty soon. And stay tuned for more of us from Cinemacon. We got lots more interviews, we got footage, we got reactions, we got all kinds of crazy stuff. So stick with us here at Cinemacon 2018, JoBlo.com.